Back with me, Congressman Stephen Horsford, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Cornell Belcher, MSNBC political analyst, pollster, and Democratic strategist, and LaTosha Brown, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. All right, everybody. Listen to what Trump had to say at a rally in New Hampshire yesterday.
Restore law and order to our communities, and I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical, out-of-control, fake, crooked prosecutor in America for their illegal, racist, and reverse enforcement of the law. I am also going to indemnify all police officers.
I mean, it's chilling. I want all of you to respond, but LaTosha, you go first. To my mind, just weaponizing DOJ is one thing, but indemnifying law enforcement, to me, he just put a target on all of our backs.
Absolutely. It's one, let's call it what it is. It's fascism at its finest. The bottom line is this is his dog whistle. This is the race. He has decided to weaponize race. He's decided to weaponize enforcement and violence. That is what actually he believes is his claim to fame, of actually being the support behind him and using white supremacy and this whole notion of literally creating a police state to be able to advance his campaign. And so that's why I think that the sophistication of black voters, that's why I do not believe in any way that he will garner more support from black voters. I do think it is important for us to not take for granted what the alternative is, but I think it's really important for us to understand how dangerous he is.
Cornell?
Well, first let me start by saying I want a Christmas at LaTosha's house because the Christmas tree and the fireplace is absolutely killing me.
I know.
But what I also say is thank you. Thank you, Donald Trump, for saying the quiet part out loud, because this is actually what we need to mobilize our base of voters. He's also been on record saying that he's going to invoke the Insurrection Act. And I can let, Congressman Horsford tell you what that entails, but the outcome is not good for black and brown people if he invokes the Insurrection Act. He's telling us he's going to be, in fact, a fascist on day one. And look, from a messaging standpoint, on the campaign standpoint, there's fear and there's hope. And that's sort of the basis of human nature sort of driving. There's fear and there's hope. We gave people a lot of hope in 2008. But there's a lot of fear to actually be invoked right now because this man is telling he's going to end democracy. And Capehart, I know you know this, but I don't think enough of our folks out there understand this. Black and brown people, you will not survive well if this man takes away our rights and ends democracy in this country. Those are the stakes for this upcoming election.
And Congressman Horsford, I'd love to get your reaction to that, but also how the CBC's urging of corporate America to reaffirm its commitment to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, is vital to thwarting what we heard Trump say, but also why it's important for corporate America to take it seriously.
Well, first, Donald Trump told us in 2016, he came to Black America and he said, what do you have to lose? And then he appointed an extreme, out-of-touch, ultra-conservative Supreme Court that answered that question by taking away fundamental rights for women to have reproductive justice, rights for students to be able to access college on an equal basis, access for small businesses to thrive, and access to the ballot box. And that is why I agree with your panel this morning that the real issue is the need to focus on the 80% of the Democratic base, which are black voters, to turn them out and to make sure that the resources, the message, and the messengers are in place to do that. I lead the Congressional Black Caucus. We are the largest membership in our history with 60 members, 31 black women, 29 black men, representing 120 million Americans across the country, 20 million black Americans. And we're fighting alongside the Biden-Harris administration every day to protect the fundamental rights of all communities, but specifically black America. And that is why we issued a letter to corporate America this week, calling on them to reaffirm their commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace, in the communities where they operate, and in the larger society to address racial inequities after George Floyd and to work with us to close the racial wealth gap, which continues to widen and we're not going to allow the tools of economic opportunity to be taken away from us, because that's something that Black voters also need for us to create better jobs, to start new businesses, and to build wealth in our communities.
LaTosha, I'm going to give you the last word in the less than a minute that we have left. If President Biden were to call you today, get you on the phone, what's the one thing you would tell him to do?
I would say three things, quick: message, money, and messengers. To focus on literally, we have to shift the message that we need more money on the ground, and that he needs trusted messengers that represent those constituency groups that are going out crafting the message that our communities need to hear to get motivated.
LaTosha Brown, a.k.a. the swank Mrs. Claus, Cornell Belcher, and Congressman Stephen Horsford, thank you all very much for coming back to the Sunday Show.